Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going over the Vaxee PA mouse pads. Vaxee is a company that has been aiming their products at the professional community for quite some time now. They broke off from Zowie to give the gaming community what Zowie wasn't willing to do, and starting their company off with the NP01. And I've had that mouse myself, and it's a very awesome mouse. With that being their first step in the world of FPS games. Now, me personally, before I received the PAs for review, I didn't know what to expect from these pads. Vaxee for me was always about their mice lineup more than their mouse pads. So when Vaxee decided to send out the Vaxee PA to me, I was quite excited to see what these pads had to offer in terms of usefulness in the FPS world of gaming compared to the Zowie mouse pads. Mainly for me, I focus on the game titles like Battlefield myself, but I know Vaxee was aiming for gamers that play mostly Counter-Strike and Valorant style games in mind, with their focus on the PA being a down-to-earth pad that a gamer would want to purchase again down the road. With that being said, I would love to know in the comments below what you think about the Vaxee PA line of mouse pads. Are they comparable to Zowie? By interacting with each other in the comments, it gives several different points of views versus just my review of the pad. So a gamer can make the decision if he or she would want to purchase the PA pad for their personal style of gaming. You know, it's all up to you guys. So if you guys are ready to dive into this review and see what the PA is all about, let's go. Alright guys, before we get into my views and experiences with my time using the PA pads, let's check out the Vaxee PA pads on their website and get you a price. I like putting the price of the gaming peripheral items at the beginning of my vids so you can have the choice of seeing if you want to move on with my review or search out other companies with better pricing. It's all about you having all the info you need moving forward so you don't have to waste time watching the whole video. Now, depending on what flavor of the PA you choose from Vaxee or Zowie PA, the starting price for the PA is very competitive, with the Vaxee PA Black being the base pad in their Vaxee PA lineup, putting it in line with, say, the price of the Lethal Gaming Gear Basic 490 by 410 Planet pads, which are awesome and excellent pads as well. Those come in at $29.99, making it a very easy buy, with the basic Vaxee PA coming in at $28.99, so actually $1 cheaper. Now from there, the price goes up $1. If you decide to go with, say, the Zowie PA versions, say the FunSpark V2 for example, it's $29.99. The next rising cost is going to go up by almost $10 if you decide you want to customize your pad, and that price will be $39.99. The custom pads also had an extra 30 to 45 days to the time it will take to get your pad. Basically, the customized pads are custom made and then shipped to their office in each region. To avoid a high cost, they combine several custom orders together to then ship all out at once. This is why it takes longer. Okay, now that we have the price of the PA up front and explained, let's get into what the pads have to offer us as gamers. Now get into my own personal opinion of the feeling of the pad. The PA, in my opinion, has a really close resemblance in texture and feel to, say, the Logitech G840. When it comes to the texture and thickness. With that, the G840 maybe being just a small amount faster. Not much faster, just a touch. Now the difference in the basic Vaxee Black PA versus the Zowie color variant is going to be minimal, but the Zowie color pads are a touch faster than the black basic PA pad. Now a lot of that I think has to do with the fact that they are colored and have ink in them, which makes them a little bit faster. The basic PA feels more controlling and sticky, like, say, along the lines of the Zowie GSR SE or maybe the Zowie Rogue, and the PA color variants being along the lines of the Logitech G840. Either way, both of these pads can be put into the control pad category. Not as controlling as the Lethal Gaming Gear Saturn or the Artisan Zero by no means. Now the X and Y on both of the PA pads tend to lean to a faster glide from left to right, and a slower glide up and down, making the X and Y uneven for glide. It's not a deal breaker, but me personally, I want a uniform X and Y glide. That's just my own preference. Now with that being said, the slower movement going up and down does help to keep your crosshairs more steady and level if you are using weapons that you need to control recoil on. In me playing Battlefield, almost all guns have recoil, so the slower up and down helps a lot. But I am still a uniform X and Y kind of guy. That's just what I'm used to and what my muscle memory wants. All of the Vaxee PA pads come with no stitching on the outer edges of the mouse pad, with no sharp edges to worry about and no stitching to be pulling at the hairs or irritation to your arm. Now, I will say this, when it comes to the black PA and the color variant PA, the color variant does seem like after maybe 5 or 6 months, it might lead to fraying on the edges if you are an arm aimer. I am not an arm aimer myself. I have a Noble gaming chair with adjustable armrest, so 100% of the time my arms are not on the pad. Only contact my arm has with the pad is around my wrist area, and I can see a little bit of wear from where my wrist actually touches and the edge of the pad, causing a little bit of wear. So with that being said, an arm aimer that has their whole arm on the pad is probably going to see more wear on the edge of the pad due to the weight of their arms going back and forth on the edges of the PA. I am thinking the only reason you will not get this issue with the black PA is because I feel like the colored versions of the PA seem to have a different layer to them than the black PAs. Both PA pad versions, in my experience, have little to no humidity issues. I will say though, I am a small guy, and other than my hand putting off just the regular amount of moisture and sweat that normally hands put off, my arms are not prone to sweating while I am gaming. In other words, I don't really sweat much when I'm just gaming. Also, I live in Louisiana, which has some of the worst humidity in the country next to Florida, and has not caused any slowdowns that I can humanly notice. Me personally, I'm not going to do a water test on these pads. I just feel like it isn't necessary and can cause mold issues. Now, I will say this, which has nothing to do with moisture. The black PA version is more prone to showing up of hairs and anything else that gets stuck on the pad. But all you have to do is keep a dry microfiber towel close by and swipe it off every once in a while. And if you need to actually clean the pads, dampen the microfiber cloth lightly with a spray bottle of clean distilled water. Reasons for distilled water is that it has no harmful materials or chemicals that might destroy the filling of the pad when cleaned off with regular water. Both Vaxee and Zowie pads both have a very soft, high-density flat rubber, which makes it a very flexible pad in terms of laying flat right out of the box. When I first got the PA pads, they had some very mild roll on the edges that most rolled pads tend to come with, but because of the base material that is used flat for me in just a couple of days. Both of these pads are okay to do the little roll correction to get an instant laying flat mouse pad. Just keep in mind that the black one, if you do use the roll correct, it is going to mess with the logo. Unlike some pads out there, there will give you waves if you try to get the pad flat from the roll trick. As far as softness of the PA pads, it's not comfortable to use, but you will not be pushing your mouse into the pad very much. But it's also not a soft pad like, say, the Artisan Zero type of soft. There is very little give because of the flat rubber that the Vaxee decided to go with. It only has a thickness of 3.5 millimeters. But for me, in the over 2 months that I've used the pads, I have never had any discomfort on my hands while using the PA. So unless you are a soft or extra soft kind of guy that likes to push your mouse into your pad for extra control, the PA has very little give. Also, during the use, even though the pad is not very heavy, I had no issue with the pad sliding all over my desk while using the PA. Very slow, if any movement at all. Now, the size of the pad is going to be a hate it or like it kind of decision. Some gamers, like arm aimers and low sensitivity players, are going to find that the Vaxee pads don't have much real estate to play with. The size of the PA pads come in at 470 by 390 millimeter. That makes it almost 20 millimeters smaller horizontally than the Lethal Gaming Gear base size of 490 millimeters, and 40 millimeters less vertical than the Lethal Gaming Gear of 410 millimeters. For me personally, not being an arm aimer and kind of a low sense 360 aimer of around 18 to 20 inches, the Vaxee PA has just the right amount of real estate to keep me from running off the pad while I am gaming. Now, to sum it all up, my personal opinion on the Vaxee Zowie PA pads can be summed up as a basic first-person shooter type of pad. Not a bunch of bells and whistles. If you're an old schooler like me, looking for basic, get it done type of pad without breaking the bank. I've really enjoyed using both Vaxee PA pads over the last few months and would easily recommend the Vaxee PA pads to customers in the Battlefield/Counter-Strike/Valorant community. Personally, if I didn't have to do reviews on many different pads and I was a one mouse pad kind of guy and I ordered this pad, I would be completely satisfied. But just like everything else in the gaming peripheral community, everyone has different taste when it comes to what is good or bad to them. I hope that this review has helped you to understand the Vaxee pads with a little more in-depth detail. What are your thoughts on the Vaxee company? Leave a comment below and tell me why you wouldn't get a Vaxee PA pad. Also, all of the feelings I have about the Vaxee pads are mine and mine alone. I am not affiliated with Vaxee in any way, and I will not be making any revenue off of this review. With all of that being said, please be sure to follow my socials in the description below this video. I will also leave a link to the Vaxee website to make it easier for you to find them if you don't want to have to type it in yourself. Happy mouse pad hunting, my friends. Hope you find a right pad for all your gaming needs. This is Fatal, signing out.